up, everybody? My name's Randy. Of course, you're watching the 5-5 Garage, and today I'm going to keep the intro short and sweet, but I will be continuing on with my Miata build where we're actually beginning to build. So for today, we will finally be getting to the build part of this build series. The previous videos was all about me taking things apart, but today, finally, we will be starting the short block build process. I'll be installing the crankshaft into the block with new ACL Race bearings as well. I'm going to put the rings on the pistons and then drop the pistons and the rods into the block as well. So hopefully you all are excited as I am to get this started. Let's get to it. Alright, now that I got my crank in the block and it spins freely, next step is to install rings on the pistons and then drop the pistons and rods onto the crank, torque everything down. Now, when you are installing the rings, what you want to ensure is that none of your gaps line up. And what I mean by your gaps is your ring gaps. You want to have them pretty much offset to each other, and that will ensure that they don't line up and then allow extra blow by to get past because you just created a space for pressure to release. So make sure to stagger your ring gaps, and I'll show you guys what I'm going to do as I'm putting these together. And in order to do this, of course, you got to have yourself set of these, and these are just ring pliers. They make it much easier to install. As well, when it comes time to putting them in the block, I will show you guys what I'm going to use as my ring compressor. Alright, I have my oil control rings in. I have the lower gap on this side and the upper ring gap on this side. Next thing I'm going to do is add in the second ring. And if you're wondering how you can tell which way these go, see this little end right here? That needs to be facing up, especially because this ring has a little bit of a little groove on it. And so when you go to add the second ring and the top ring, make sure this little end is facing up. Okay, so now comes a point where we have to drop piston into the block, and I've seen people use those other types of ring compressors where you put it in and you tighten it down, you have to seal to the block and knock it in. Sometimes you can break rings, and I didn't want to have to deal with that, so I went ahead and ordered this from Wiseco Pistons custom fit ring compressor that is perfect. We set it on here, line it up, and then we feed our piston through, and it compresses as it goes down, so that all it takes is a good couple taps and it'll drop right in, and there's less likely a chance to break a ring using one of these, so I highly recommend it. Now that I have 3 of the 4 pistons in the block, I'm gonna call that a wrap for today. But why did I only do 3 or 4? Well, yeah. It happens, mistakes happen. When I was going to assemble the rings on the 4th piston, I accidentally snapped the second ring. So yeah, I'm gonna have to order a replacement, but that won't stop me from ending this video. And pretty much that is how I have installed the crank and put new forged rods and pistons with new rings in my Miata short block. So, throw that in garbage. With all that done, I can now continue on the process of adding on bits to finally get this motor back in the car. I have a new oil pump that needs to be installed. I still have to do a little bit of cylinder head work before I can put the cylinder head on. So those are a couple of videos that you guys can look forward to. I hope you are enjoying this content, and if you are, make sure you smash that like button As well, make sure you're subscribed, and also go check out my Patreon. There are some small behind the scenes videos that I did pertaining to this that I put on there primarily because they just weren't long enough for me to put on YouTube. But if you're interested in that content, go check it out. Other than that, I am going to clean up my little mess here, run inside, order a new set of rings again, and hopefully all that stuff will be here by next week. I hope you guys are enjoying your weekend wherever you are, and I will see you guys on the next one.